By 2024, a man named Leo Radvinsky became one of the richest people in the world thanks to his company OnlyFans. After becoming a top 400 billionaire in the US and making $700 million a year, it's clear that Leo is quite the savvy businessman. But what's not clear is who he really is as a person. He's never done an interview, never done a podcast, never been on TV, nothing. In fact, this is the only image you can find of Leo on the entire internet. Maybe that's because he doesn't want you to know about his super creepy history, from marketing underage content to pedophiles, promoting bestiality, the countless lawsuits he's faced, and much more. So who really is this man behind one of the biggest adult platforms in the world? And more importantly, how has he avoided any punishment for his past? Well, after Leo was born in 1982 in Odessa, Ukraine, into a wealthy family, you start to see where Leo might have gotten his devious side from. His parents were Anna and Savely Radvinsky, the latter being the one making all of the family's money. Where he got this money remains a mystery. Rumors circulated that he derived his wealth from shady schemes in post-USSR Ukraine during the early 90s through powerful connections in the seaport and oil trade. Whether it was dirty or not, he made enough money through this to move his family to the States in 1988, specifically in a suburb outside of Chicago called Glenview. Here, Leo's family started to partake in a more legit business scheme: real estate. They bought and sold properties in multiple states like Illinois, California, and Connecticut, and they did all of this to give Leo the best life possible. And Leo sure seemed to have a pretty great life up to this point. While having stinky rich parents is a nice bonus as an adolescent, it was clear he was also a super smart kid from an early age. Growing up, he taught himself how to use the basic programming language on his grandfather's dusty-ass PC, and was also into reading a ton and playing chess nonstop. These traits carried on into high school, where he attended Glenbrook South High and got more into coding and entrepreneurship. At the age of 15, he was the webmaster behind an online strategy game called XCOM Apocalypse. An impressive feat, considering most 15-year-olds, like myself, were instead mowing kids down with a VMP on Black Ops 3. But when Leo turned 17, he wanted to start turning his coding skills into serious Benjamins in his pocket. And what he created to do that may be the biggest regret he has ever made in his entire life. In 1999, Leo created Cybertania. Cybertania at its core was an affiliate marketing business, and it worked as follows. Leo would buy and run ads on websites promoting another business, and if someone clicked on one of Leo's ads, the business would pay him a small commission. Pretty simple, right? So what were the businesses that Leo was promoting? You guessed it, adult websites. And the way he would advertise these sites is some of the most heinous marketing I've ever seen. Instead of simply creating ads with the adult website's branding and other things, Leo took a way more scummy route. He bought and created websites that claimed to have hacked or stolen passwords to premium accounts of the adult websites he was partnered with. These sites included Password Universe, Working Passes, Ultra Passwords, My Free Pay Site, and more. And he would use these sites in his ads to entice people to get these free accounts. But the real issue went far beyond the scam password sites he was shelling. No, the real issue was far more sick and twisted. In addition to these free accounts, Leo would promise access to very illegal content. Content that showed bestiality, content that showed models as young as 11, and various other statements that also promoted underage videos. This messaging crossed lines on so many levels, even if he wasn't actually fulfilling his promise on what he was promoting. It was heinous, disgusting, and every other synonym under the sun. And worst of all, it was working. Over the next few years, Leo made money hand over fist from Cybertania's password sites. One website alone was reportedly making $5,000 a day in 2002, equating to over $1.8 million a year. And that was just one website. Leo had at least 11 of them registered and operating. Combine that income with the side scam he was also working on, spoofing big company email accounts and sending millions of spam emails, and it's no surprise that by his early 20s, Leo was a millionaire. He made so much that it didn't affect him when Microsoft, Amazon, and other big companies sued Cybertania and him personally. He had the war chest to settle with all of them. By 2004, at just 22 years old, Leo had reached his wildest financial goals. However, what he also earned was quite the shady reputation. How would he go about life now that he was known for being this scummy, zero morals guy? Well, he moved the goalpost for his financials and doubled down. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to MyFreeCams, Leo's hot new venture he started in 2004 that went on to change his life forever. First, let me explain what this business was all about. To put it bluntly, MFC was basically a virtual strip club. It was centered around live stream performances with direct interactions between models and viewers, so pretty much a slutty version of Twitch. Viewers would purchase tokens to be used to either tip models during their live streams or, if they bought enough, buy private shows. The models would then make money off of these tokens, usually between 50 to 63% of the money spent by fans. This doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, they were only keeping half the money these lonely dudes were raining on them. But it was estimated that even the average performing models were potentially earning between $75K and $100K per month. I guess good for them, but man, does that make me incredibly sad. Now don't get it twisted, MyFreeCams was also swimming in controversy despite it being a legal business on paper. To start, there were countless suspicions of money laundering attempts within MFC XY's financials, Leo's holding company for the site. Within these documents, there were over $1 billion of transactions flagged as suspicious as they were being sent to high-risk regions like Curacao. This was probably a result of how MFC paid their models out. Leo made these models use only offshore banks, like one called Choice Bank based in Belize, to get their funds. Not only was this sus at face value, these banks would constantly delay or freeze payments and sometimes not pay them out at all. Hell, Choice Bank eventually collapsed in 2018, which left performers losing tens of thousands of dollars. Oh, and don't worry, Leo made sure MFC's advertising was also fucked up too. Their ads, which were placed on chat room websites with age requirements of 13+, promoted their adult content to boys, girls, and teens alike. It's like he just can't help himself with these kids. Like, get a fucking grip, dude. Now, in true Leo fashion, he was able to avoid any punishment for these disgraceful business decisions beyond settling. And that's because he had more money than ever to do so. Over years of insanely rapid growth, MyFreeCams was recognized as one of the world's largest adult webcam communities, hosting over 100,000 models and more than 5 million virgins, members. These members gifted MFCXY hundreds of millions of dollars in annual payments, easily making Leo a multi-millionaire. He spent this money like a multi-millionaire too, splurging on a $3 million luxury condo in Chicago, $10 million on 6 other lakefront apartments, hundreds of acres of farmland in rural Illinois, and a 50-foot sport coupe yacht named the Black Sea. But hey, at least Leo wasn't entirely a douche with his fortune, as he also started investing in small software ventures, helping aspiring developers get their businesses up and running. However, in 2018, Leo made one very important investment in a company, an investment that would not only make him even more stinky rich, but would also alter the adult industry forever. But before we talk about that investment, a quick word from my sponsor, Surfshark. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, you know I spend a shitload of time researching sketchy people, companies, products, and other stuff. And sometimes I have to dig into corners of the internet that are equivalent to dimly lit alleyways at 3 a.m. And while I do that, the last thing I want is my personal info floating around out there. That's where Surfshark saves the day. Surfshark is a VPN that encrypts your internet connection and hides your IP address, so your online activity isn't being tracked or sold off like it's a Black Friday deal. So whether you're on public Wi-Fi, traveling, or don't love the idea that Google knows you've been on OnlyFans, Surfshark keeps all of that private. One clutch thing I love is that Surfshark works on unlimited devices. Your phone, tablet, laptop, desktop, it's all covered. They also have thousands of servers in over 100 countries, which means you can access region-blocked content from pretty much everywhere. That's literally hundreds of new shows and movies you could watch right now. On top of all of that good stuff, Surfshark has added some new, genuinely useful features too. There's a web content blocker, which helps block malicious sites, trackers, and other garbage you don't want loading on your browser. And there's also an email scam checker, which helps spot phishing and scam emails before you accidentally click something that ruins your entire week. Plus, they have a strict no logs policy, meaning they'll never track or store what you do online, which is especially comforting for someone like me who constantly goes down those dark alleyways for these videos. And if you're on the fence, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it completely risk-free. So if you want to browse more privately and protect your data online, go to surfshark.com/bcproductions or use code bcproductions at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Okay, back to the video. This is Tim Stokely, a British entrepreneur who was born in Harlow, England in 1983. He had a shockingly similar uprising to Leo when it came to where he made his money. lonely dudes. Tim had built and sold multiple adult content websites like Customs for You and Glam Worship. But also like Leo, he always had a drive to do more. With an initial investment of £10,000 from his father Guy, he created a brand new platform called OnlyFans in 2016. Now ironically, OnlyFans wasn't actually an adult site to begin with. Tim envisioned people with all sorts of passions beyond shaking their dairy arrangements to monetize their hobbies on the platform. Musicians, artists, fitness coaches, whoever. Tim wanted OnlyFans to be the place to monetize what people love to do via subscriptions. And so, with his father's money and his older brother Thomas becoming the COO, the Stokely family set out to blow up OnlyFans. And it started off hot. The only issue was, well, most people were using OnlyFans to sell adult content. But hey, the platform was growing really well, and Tim didn't seem too bothered by this, so he just let it all slide. And thank God he did, because someone, a certain titan in the adult content industry, was lurking in the shadows watching OnlyFans grow rapidly, and he wanted a piece of the action. One day in 2018, Tim received a random cold email from a dude named Leo. This email contained paragraphs upon paragraphs of Leo's praise, strategic ideas, and bold vision for the future of OnlyFans. Tim was taken aback by this message. He didn't have a clue who Leo was or what he had done in the past, but yet he was enthralled with his passion and ideas for his company. It was like Leo had the same, if not more, enthusiasm for what he was building. And after some thought, he couldn't turn down Leo's request of being a part of the team. Fast forward a couple of months, and the dynamic duo had gotten to know each other quite a bit. Tim learned that he and Leo shared a very similar vision for growing OnlyFans, a guerrilla-style type of marketing where influencers would promote their OnlyFans pages, which in turn would be promoting the site itself, all for free. Pair that with the constant growth of social media platforms, and the two had a gigantic, never-ending marketing funnel spawned out of thin air. Between that idea, new ideas for features, and more, Tim started to notice something very evident. As he and Leo chopped it up more and more, he came to the conclusion that Leo clearly wanted to run the show. The fiery passion, the never-ending ideas, it couldn't be more obvious. So Tim acted on that conclusion and sold Leo 75% of Felix International, Tim's holding company for OnlyFans, for an estimated low millions figure. And that's all Leo needed to take this platform to the next level. First things first, Leo fully transitioned OnlyFans into being an adult-first platform. You could probably see this coming given his background, but he saw a massive opportunity in doing this, especially because people were already posting their junk anyway. His doubling down on explicit material as the site's core offering quickly resulted in OnlyFans becoming known in pop culture as a primary hub for not safe for work content. But this was just the beginning of his plan. He implemented many more tools for creators to monetize, like pay-per-view messages, live streaming, and tipping. He ensured the technical infrastructure and payments were as smooth as possible for everyone, a far cry from the sketchy offshore banks he used for my free cams. He even created a second link tree type of company called All My Links, so that creators had a PG page to share with their fans and wouldn't catch any heat from social platforms for promoting their adult content. But his smartest move of all was the beautiful 80-20 payout structure. 80% of revenue would go to creators and 20% to the company. This rate was significantly higher than every other platform, period. For example, YouTube pays 55% to creators and 45% to them. 25% less. Leo's juicy rate offering not only brought flocks of creators to OnlyFans, but also incentivized his marketing ploy because infinitely more creators were now promoting his site for free. Leo knew something special was brewing here. No other platform had a focus on adult content. These crazy payouts, just all of it was perfect. It was only a matter of time until millions of lonely people started coughing up big bucks to see some tatas. And when 2020 came around, the number of lonely people exploded. To put into perspective the perfect timing of the pandemic for OnlyFans, let's take a look at the numbers. At the end of 2019, OnlyFans had a solid 13.5 million fan accounts, 348,000 creators, and 270 million in total fan spending. Pretty great overall, especially considering the company had been around for only 3 years to this point. But year 4 was nothing short of explosive. By the end of 2020, they had 82 million fan accounts, 1.6 million creators, and between 2.2 and 2.4 billion in total spending. This is an extremely rare case. Very few companies ever experience growth of this magnitude in such a short time frame, but the catalyst that was the pandemic introduced many factors to make this happen. First and most obvious, millions of people were forced into isolation. Now, you don't need much of a brain to assume that these people, yearning for connection, turned to OnlyFans to fulfill that need, which resulted in a surge of new customers. But the same dilemma was happening on the other side of the platform too. With millions of people losing their jobs from the pandemic, they yearned to make money again. Now, obviously, not everyone who was laid off immediately defaulted to shaking their ass online, but the situation still created that massive spike in creators. Both sides of the OnlyFans economy heavily benefited from COVID. Plus, with the insurmountable attention the platform received through the mainstream from celebrities on it or mentioning it, like Beyonce, DJ Khaled, Ray Shremmerd, Cardi B, and more, Leo couldn't have been happier with the growth. And that growth showed no signs of slowing down. 2021 was an even better year for the platform. By year's end, it sat at 188 million fan accounts, 2.1 million creators, and 4.8 billion in total spending. Hell, even the end of the pandemic didn't stop the record shatter. Years 22, 23, and 24 showed the exact same pattern of non-stop growth in users, creators, and fan spending. No one was more stoked about this growth than Leo. His vision, ideas, and a big hit of luck from COVID made him one of the most successful entrepreneurs in adult tech, and his insane paychecks prove it. Something I haven't mentioned was that just a month after he bought a majority share of OnlyFans from Tim, he bought out the rest of the 25%. He owned the entirety of the company through those years of massive growth. Plus, he was able to keep costs down from only employing 61 people. In simple terms, this meant that Leo was able to pay himself massive dividends over those years while not spending too much on keeping the company going. So how much in dividends are we talking here? Well, between 2020 and 2024, he paid himself $1.82 billion. By the end of 2024, Leo was on top of the adult industry. His net worth was an estimated $7.8 billion, he owned countless luxury properties, and nothing was slowing him down. But when you're in an industry like this, controversies are inevitable, and the amount that OnlyFans faced ignited the start of the end for Leo. The allegations began way back in May of 21, when a BBC investigation found that OnlyFans was failing to prevent minors from selling and appearing in explicit videos, citing reports from UK police and schools. In February the next year, multiple class action lawsuits were filed against Leo and Felix International by competing sites for alleged anti-competitive practices. Specifically, the suits alleged that Leo worked out a deal with social platforms so that competing adult performers would be blacklisted and designated as dangerous individuals/organizations, aka terrorists, on social media to force them to create exclusively for OnlyFans. There were also the 140 complaints in the US that Reuters found regarding sexual explicit content posted without consent on OnlyFans since 2019 and traffickers using the platform to exploit women. Between these, plenty of other smaller lawsuits, and backlash Leo received for other decisions with OnlyFans, it's clear he had been feeling heat for years. So much heat, in fact, that Leo created a team specifically to field media questions so he could avoid the spotlight. But regardless of the negative press, legal battles, and whatever else, Leo really only cared about one thing: OnlyFans' reputation. Having a massive business that's a lightning rod of controversy didn't really sit well with investors or banks because they were scared that these issues would be non-stop. Leo's ability to get money to grow OnlyFans was hindered big time by this dilemma, and after years of trouble, he decided to call it quits. Throughout 2025, Leo was on the hunt to find a buyer for his company. Leaked documents reveal that he's explored multiple buyers for OnlyFans at a valuation of $8 billion. But yet again, the company's controversial image has bitten him in the ass. While the financials for the platform are great, there aren't that many people in the world who A, have that kind of money, and B, are willing to take on OnlyFans' risque image. Because of that image, some analysts estimate that the company will go for far less, around 1.5 to 2.5 billion, but as of now, no one has bid. But regardless if he ever finds a seller, Leo still made a fortune for himself. He joined the ranks of the Forbes 400 richest Americans while staying out of the mainstream and avoiding the countless allegations against him and all of his companies. If you want to hear another story about some sketchy billionaires, click this to hear the story of Ed Craven and Bijan Tehrani, the millennials who created the largest online casino in the world.